So why is market intelligence important? Well, I have a personal example from a time when I went to India. I was going on a trip, and my wife, as I was leaving, asked me to buy a sari for her. And a sari, I have no idea how to buy a sari, right? What does it cost? What stores I would go to? So I was really anxious already, like as I left for the airport. So when I went to India, right, I really needed to find out what you could say is market intelligence. Where do I go in Delhi, first of all, right? How much should I be paying for it? So luckily, without doing some research, my uncle actually came to me and told me all this information about buying saris. And don't ask me how he knew about buying saris, but he told me a couple of tips. One of the most important tips he gave me was about negotiation. And I'm a poor negotiator to begin with, right? And so he told me, said, whatever price they quote, only offer 1/10 of the price, and do not leave the store do not leave the store paying more than 1/4 of the price. And I didn't believe him, but that was an extraordinary tip, right? And that's the kind of information when we talk about market intelligence that you want to be able to glean, right? Find out who are the best suppliers, right? In this case, it would have been the shops in Delhi, right? What price should you be paying? What are the differences? So in terms of public procurement then, market data is really important, right? Having that kind of critical knowledge and information about a market is really, really important. And we can relate it to, right, anything we buy in public procurement. Often, a lot of times people will come to us and say, hey, we need to buy something. Let's say it's cloud computing. I may be a buyer who doesn't know anything about it, right? And then I need to find out what does cloud computing mean first of all, right? Hopefully I know a little bit. And then I need to find out where all the different types of companies out there, right? What kind of services, products, capabilities do they have? How do they actually even price their products? And that's a lot of really, really critical information. And unfortunately, a lot of times we don't have that information and we go to market and we go to buy something. And what happens is we end up not knowing the right companies, right? We end up putting out an RFP, let's say, with the wrong pricing model. And then a supplier looks at it and says, this doesn't make any sense to me, right? And the best companies, guess what? They just walk away. So if we don't have the right market data, market intelligence, we end up in a situation, yes, you'll still end up with a supplier, but oftentimes it's the wrong supplier, right? The best suppliers walk away. You might end up paying the wrong amount, or you might set up the wrong structure that costs you more overall. And so there's a huge cost. And what ends up a lot of times, unfortunately, is we end up doing the whole thing over again, right? So that's why market data and market intelligence is important. So this is not just my opinion, right? Economic theory, we know, tells us that when a transaction happens between buyers and suppliers, we need good market data. And when we have good market data, we have effective transactions. And that's why market intelligence is so, so critical. And when you don't have, then when all parties don't have equal information, you have what you call information asymmetry, right? Where let's say the government doesn't really, in my example for cloud computing, government doesn't have the right information and they end up going to market. Guess what? One, the suppliers may be at an advantage and we're not going to the right sources, etc. So that's why market intelligence and market data is really, really critical. But the fact is, getting market data is not that easy. Answering all those questions is not easy at all, right? And you have to piecemeal all this information together. You have to go to multiple databases. You have to look up different research reports. It takes a lot of time. And when we're all consumed with, we have to figure out, what our customers need. We have all this paperwork to do. And I think you would agree if I said, you don't have all this extra time just to go sit there and do research all day and night, right? So market intelligence is not easy. And this is why, I started building GovShop because felt that one, if we could get market data in the hands of people in a very easy manner, right? And make it much more accessible and make the market in some ways completely transparent, then we could arm, starting with government, the information they need, right? The information government buyers need. It could be program officials, it could be procurement officials, right? Give them the information they need to go to market. And guess what? The suppliers are also happy then, because now you have an informed buyer. And it helps suppliers because if you have an informed buyer that's coming to you, now you can actually go to the table and negotiate more effectively. So it also helps suppliers. So that's why we're building GovShop. So the goal in making the information easily available, accessible, is because I truly believe that giving people market data, it can be like the superpower that everybody needs, right? And we have a lot of very committed public servants, officials in public sector, right, that work very hard. And if we can give them and arm them with just this extra power, right, it can be a superpower for them. And I know once they have it, I've seen it before, they can do so much with it, right? And they will have this extraordinary power in their hands. And we already know there's so many public servants that are superheroes. This will give them an extra, even more ability to be the superheroes we so need in public sector right now. And so that's why I care about this. I think market data, market intelligence is so critical. I believe that we have so many committed public servants out there that work hard every day, but they don't have the tools, they don't have the information that's really necessary and needed, right? And we want to give it to them because that's a superpower you need. But then I already know you're going to be a superhero no matter what with this information. So that's what we're trying to do with GovShop.